Okay, so in today's video, what I want to do is I want to talk about a wrist move, and it's a wrist move great golfers do, and it's a wrist move that I would say the majority of amateur golfers tend not to do. Now, this wrist move will also explain your lack of distance because it will showcase how you hold on to lag in the golf swing, and it also just sort of showcase why you get inconsistency with stuff like ball striking as well. So first of all, what I want to do is I want to paint a picture of what I see when I get students reach out for help online, or people that come through that door for golf lessons. What I tend to see is an impact position with, should we say, a bent left wrist, okay, like so, or a sort of flattening trail wrist, like so. And this is kind of defined as scoopy. And then as you continue this on, the hands get very close towards the body, and it's almost like golfers get very much sort of acceptant of squaring the face with a flip, as opposed to understanding how to really release the arms. Now, what you want to be doing is you obviously want to be hitting the golf ball where at the point of impact the trail wrist would still be angled like so, so it'd still have an element of extension like this, and the lead wrist would be flat, so not the other way around, this way. And that means that the hands are getting ahead of the golf ball before the club head at that point of impact, and that's going to help you compress the golf ball. But sometimes sort of isolating it to impact, and I've sort of noticed this with students I've worked with, I'm not so sure it tends to work that well. I think golfers just get a little bit more stuck actually, and you lose that sort of liberated freedom. So what I've noticed is working particularly well is focusing more on just the trail arm in isolation. Now, the best way to practice this is hold the club upside down so you're taking the weight of the club out. And the first thing you've got to do is you've got to get some width. Now, width, I would say, by definition, needs to be the relationship between the upper arm and the side of your body. So what I mean by this is this backswing position here is not wide. My upper arm is close to the side of my body. This is going to promote an immediate casting motion, and that casting motion is then going to lend itself to that sort of crooked impact position. What we're looking to achieve is a backswing where the upper arm is much further away from the body, so that as you then start the downswing, the upper arm can move to the side of the body, and then by going wide to the side of the body means the hands can get more ahead of the club at impact, and you can extend those arms through. So the first thing you want to do when you're practicing this exercise is just simply that. Put your left hand or put your lead hand behind your back and just use your trail hand and just elevate it up in the air. Don't even worry about trying to set it into a position. Even if you allow it to feel quite across the line, it doesn't matter. Okay, you don't need to try and supinate your forearm, roll your forearm to get the club on plane. Just quite literally just get the feeling of width. Now, once you get accustomed to that, you can sort of just play around with, as I'm demonstrating here, going from a backswing like so, and then just letting your upper arm come to the side of your body. And when you're getting used to that, just allow yourself to sort of move your weight towards the left as well. And what you should start to do is you should start to hear that swooshing sound, and it should be occurring, should we say, in and around that impact area, or if not, maybe even slightly post that impact area, and that's what we're looking for. And that's great. That means we're not doing this, we're doing wide to narrow. Now, on its own, that type of motion will give you the capability to create lag, because as I sort of demonstrated earlier, if I take this upper arm very close to the side of my body, and as my relationship between my forearm and upper arm straightens, which is inevitability in the golf swing, it creates a widening hand path, which is a cast. If I take my upper arm away from me, and as my upper arm is moving away from my forearm, but my upper arm also moves close to the side of my body, you see the way now it's helping me create more of a lagging motion. So that's what you want to practice first, and that's quite simply turn the club upside down. Wide to narrow will do that very naturally. But what about the wrist move? Well, what you want to be feeling is you want to be feeling, and to exaggerate this is why I said earlier that you kind of almost don't want to preset the club shaft position. You just want to allow the club to feel quite across the line. And then what you want to be doing is getting this sort of sense that as you're allowing that upper arm to move to the side of you, coming in towards that start, that downswing, that's when you want to just kind of get a feeling for that change in direction. Now, I think it's best to do this if I do it slower and only halfway. So if I do a few of these first, this is me moving everything at the same rate, but this is me now bringing my upper arm to the side of my body as the club is getting to the capacity. And what that's doing is that's just allowing, see the way that as my wrist just extends towards the top, it's just creating that little bit more lag. But the big move here, and the reason why this is important if I do it to the side of me, okay, like so, what this is doing in this little change in direction, so instead of swinging it back and bringing it down together, what I'm doing is I'm just allowing my right wrist just to hinge a little bit more at the top of my backswing as my upper arm gets to the side of me. And what this does is this helps me shallow the club. So the big thing that we see with all amateurs is as they start the downswing, everything goes together in a casting fashion. And as I said to you, the reason why that generally happens is threefold, right? One, most golfers don't move enough to the left side to create the space for the upper arm. Two, the upper arm is too close to the body in the backswing position, which creates this casting motion. And then the last one is because when they start the downswing, they're in a backswing position and then they're moving this way instead of this way. So that wrist isn't moving this way. And that's why you want to just practice sort of relaxing and just getting a feeling as you get towards the top of your backswing position. You're allowing the upper arm to move to the side of the body as the right wrist extends and hinges so the club reaches the top, and it's like a whipping action. And this is something that when I work with a lot of students, it just takes a little bit of time to coordinate first and foremost. But once you get it, you're going to start to feel how natural it is to feel that shallowing motion without doing something like this with your body, right? So then you can start to learn, actually, yeah, okay, I could turn my body through towards the target and feel this wrist action. And that's that sort of shallowing motion occurring as I continue to rotate through the ball, instead of trying to do something like this to get the club into position. It just treats it as a very free-flowing motion. But re-watch the video when you go and practice this and do it as I've suggested, okay? So this is what I do with lessons. First of all, I would do some upper arm a wide to upper arm narrow moves and just get that club swooshing. And then what I would start to do when the golfer has progressed, do some short little swings, like little chip pitching actions. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get the feeling before the club reaches the capacity or the climax of the backswing, the hands are coming down, which increases this little hinging action that you can see here. So if I do it really slow, sit away like so, and then you can incorporate that feeling into your full swing. And that's going to help you shallow the club, get that lag. And then the last little piece of the puzzle is once you start to feel that, then you can fully release, okay? Release that club, like so. And what I mean by release here is I'm talking about the rate of rotation. Because you've got to bear in mind, when you are narrow to wide to scoopy, you're hitting that golf ball with an open face. Once you start to learn how to take it wide, bring your upper arm in, once you're in this delivery position, then you can allow that club face to close and allow that release to occur. So that's why when you start to do it wide, feel that little wrist hinge at the top of the backswing as you change that direction, and then feel that rolling motion to help you square the face. And it might seem like a lot, but break it down. Like I said, re-watch the video and do it a number of times. And if you ever need any help with anything in your golf, you can always reach out, right? There's loads of different stuff. See it in the description box below as to how we can work together. But this is how you go from a flippy sort of, you know, non-compressed golf shot to a wide motion where you can really start to feel that club whipping through and give yourself that better chance of holding onto lag and compressing the golf ball. So it's really worth doing, and it's really worth visiting, because like I say, a lot of students that I'm working with focusing more just solely on this upper arm and seeing some great results. See you soon.